Okay, guys, this is Doug Jones in beautiful Bend, Oregon, and today we're going to be talking about the one thing. What is the one thing? It's the one thing that separates those who have huge goals in network marketing and achieve them from those who have huge goals and don't achieve them. I've been on both sides of that equation, so I can speak with some authority, but I'm actually going to tell you a story about a meeting with one of the most brilliant guys in the industry that'll flesh this out for you. So this is about reaching your full potential in your home-based business. Could be any home-based business. Obviously, we're talking about Vallara tonight, but it could be any business at all for that matter. This comes from Price Pritchard, a book called U Squared. It's a little pamphlet, actually. It's about 80 pages, and it's incredible. So I encourage you to get it. I'll show you how in a few minutes. But here's what Price Pritchard said in that book. Right now, in this moment, you are capable of exponential improvement in your performance. You can multiply your personal effectiveness, hit new highs, and shatter your old achievement records. The results you can have will be hard for you to imagine. Wouldn't that be great? Results that you can hardly imagine because they're so awesome. So you don't have to settle for things as they are now. That can change. You've not been reaching your full potential. So far, you haven't even come close. No matter how you wish to measure success, regardless of how you define achievement, you've barely scratched the surface of what you, yes, you, can personally achieve. U squared implies an explosive jump in your personal performance that puts you far beyond the next logical step. It's a formula for stunning advances in achievement and the realization of your dreams. The concept is one of exponential gains rather than incremental improvement. This is the book. It's called U Squared. I think he has another book called The Quantum Leap Strategy. I think that's a different book or maybe a different title for the same one. At any rate, there's pamphlets. They're like 80 pages. Get them and read them. They're awesome. The guy's name is Price Pritchett, Pritchett. You can get these on Amazon, I believe, or just Google him. I think he sells them directly from this company. But he says a high-velocity formula for multiplying your personal effectiveness in quantum leaps. That means really fast. So back to reaching your full potential. Reaching your full potential in your business means achieving things that others don't. And here's the key, guys, and here's what we're going to talk about on this training. They don't reach their full potential because they can't. They don't reach their full potential because they don't. There's a big difference there. So we'll find out what that is in a few minutes. So what separates those who have big goals and achieve them from those who have big goals and don't achieve them? Good question, right? First of all, it's feeding your mind with positive input like books and audio tapes and meeting people, being at meetings, but it's more than that. I know that a lot of you listening to this training have very big goals for the results you want to create in your life. If that's you, this presentation is for you. If your goals aren't so large, that's okay, but pay attention anyway because you'll have people in your teams that will have huge goals. If you know what's on this recording, you'll know the importance of having them listen to this message. So you already know that you're part of something very special here. That's why we call it a mission and not a job. We have in Active Pure one of the most important and compelling product lines that I've ever been associated with. The mission is definitely a cause very much worthy of your passion because with Active Pure, we can crush this pandemic and prevent future pandemics and restore our freedom. That's important. We want people telling the story, whether they're doing it for the cause or for the money, but the money is really good too. So we have the most lucrative comp plan I've ever seen and the most attractive business model I've ever seen. So this is also very much a business worthy of your energy, in addition to being a cause worthy of your passion. And we're early. Early is good. Microsoft started in Bill Gates' garage with a handful of people and became a global giant. Those people got stock options, and guess what they became? Millionaires. Art Williams started with 85 people, and within 10 years, A.L. Williams gained 45% share of the entire life insurance industry. This is a football coach. He started with 85 people in his garage, and in 10 years, dominated one of the oldest and strongest industries in America. And he brought at least 3 established companies I know of to their knees. So big things are possible in short periods of time. There are 4 stages in the life cycle of any business giant. And this is the S curve that you see typically. It's formulation first, and most companies fail there because they just don't get it right. Formulation is where they keep changing, trying to find out what works and get rid of what doesn't work. Concentration is after they find out what works, they have to build the foundation. At that point, that's when the foundation gets built. And then some catalytic event occurs that causes that linear growth during the concentration phase to just explode into the momentum phase. And guys, in Vollara, you are here. This is, as I speak, the fall of 2021, and we are just beginning to enter the momentum phase. So it's pretty exciting because, as Richard Poe wrote in Wave 3, the momentum stage is where fortunes are made seemingly overnight by distributors who are fortunate enough to be in the company at the beginning of the momentum phase and smart enough to take massive action while the wind's at their back. So every company has to go through formulation and concentration before they can get to momentum. And about 95% of new companies die in the formulation stage, which is why ground floor is not a great place to be. Chances of that ever getting to the first floor are only 5%. A pioneer is often what they call the guys who are face down in the mud with arrows in their back, right? That's ground floor. So you don't want to be ground floor, but you do want to be early, ahead of that massive growth. And for us, that massive growth is just ahead. Vollara has survived the formulation stage. We found out what doesn't work and replaced it with what does work. And we're at the end of the concentration stage and just entering the momentum stage. It's not dead ahead, guys. We're in it. We're just at the beginning. So I believe that the tipping point into the momentum occurred last December when the results of the level 4 lab test that showed that active pure reduced 99.96% of a high concentration of the virus that causes COVID-19 in less than 3 minutes. That event and the news of that event are what changed the trajectory of our growth from linear to vertical. So we're still in front of that massive growth, but it's coming very soon. So we don't have a lot of time to dilly-dally here. I absolutely believe that we will become a dominant company in the industry over the next decade, and those who take massive action now, let me rephrase that, massive effective action now, will make fortunes that Richard Poe described in that book, Wave 3. So I know that those who become major catalysts for this incredible growth we're going to experience will not only have a profound positive impact on tens of thousands of families in North America, hundreds of thousands actually, with our product and our opportunity, but they can also create generational wealth for their families in that process. So this is worth paying attention to. I also know that a lot of people who see the vision of this future right now, at this moment, they're going to lose that dream. Some will fail to stay the course. Some will fail to pay the price of success, and therefore they won't be around to reap the reward. My goal for this training, guys, is to make sure that you listening to this right now are not one of those who falls by the wayside. I think the best way to do that is to share a story that had a big impact on me. It's a true story, and it had a big impact on my life. In 1998, I had the privilege of spending 3 hours with an amazing teacher. His name was John Kalench. I was a mid-sized leader in a network marketing company called Rexall Showcase, and John was a legend. He was the first trainer in the network marketing industry, and he was good. Prior to that meeting, I'd read 2 of his books, but I'd never met him or even seen him on video. So 20 of us Rexall leaders in California got together. We paid John $15,000 to share his wisdom with us for 3 hours. We met at a beautiful hotel in Palm Springs for this leadership retreat, and we were all seated around a room in a large sort of horseshoe arrangement around the sides of the room, and John was a bit late, so we were getting a little bit antsy. And then he walked into the room. Intense energy and curiosity in his eyes. He walked into the room without saying one word, and one by one, he made eye contact with each person in the room. It probably took 2 minutes, but it seemed like an eternity. So imagine this 50-year-old ex-gymnast in great shape. That was what John was like. He was small and wiry, totally comfortable in his skin, and man, it was intense when he was just looking around the room, making eye contact and not saying a word. Then he said, "So what shall we talk about today?" Guys, my immediate reaction was, "John, we're paying you 15 grand for 3 hours. I hope the hell you know what we're going to talk about." So John then said, "We could talk about how to build a great big Rexall business, but then I'd have to listen and you'd have to talk because I've never done that. But I have worked with every leader in the network marketing industry that you've ever heard of, and many you haven't heard of. And I've worked with every company in the industry you've ever heard of, and many that you haven't heard of. And over the past few years, I've started to focus on the distinctions that separate those who have big goals and achieve them from those who have big goals and don't achieve them. And I thought that might be an interesting topic." Guys, you could have heard a pin drop. Everybody was all ears, needless to say. So he said that a few years earlier, he had boiled it down to 1 page, but he thought that was too much. And so for the next year, he worked on getting it down to just 1 paragraph But he didn't think a lot of people could remember that, so he kept refining the core of the difference until he got it down to just one sentence. And finally, just a few months before our meeting, he got it down to one single word, the one thing. That's what we're going to talk about in the rest of this training call. He asked us to tell him what that one word was, the one thing that separates those who have big goals and achieve them from those who have huge goals and don't achieve them. So we got a whiteboard out, started writing down the words that we came up with. So I'm asking you now to do that. What do you think is the one thing that separates those who have huge goals and achieve them from those who have huge goals and don't achieve them? What one word separates those two groups of people? Give you a couple of minutes to jot down some ideas on paper, because this will be fun. So go ahead and write down, what do you think the one thing is that separates those who have huge goals and achieve them from those who have huge goals and don't achieve them? One word. So go ahead and put that one thing into the chat if you'd like, or write it down on a piece of paper. And let's go. So what do you think the one thing is that separates those who have big goals and achieve them from those who have big goals and don't achieve them? We made educated guesses for maybe, 30 minutes about what the one thing was, and John wrote them all on Blackboard. We had a lot of really good words, but none of us had the one thing, not one of us. That word is courage. That one word that separates those who have huge goals and achieve them from those who have huge goals and don't achieve them is courage. And courage is what separates them. He explained that courage subdivides into three key elements. The first part of courage is an absolute commitment to achieve the goal regardless of circumstances. We all have circumstances in our lives, but knowing that there will be obstacles, disappointments, confusion, misunderstandings, distractions, roadblocks, trouble, all that stuff will happen along the way. Knowing all that, deciding in advance to overcome everything and achieve the goal anyway. That is courage. A commitment to become the leader you need to be in order to achieve the goal, to become more than you are today, because if you're already who you need to be today, you'd already have what you want to have. A commitment to learning and growing, a commitment to be more, do more, and give more. In his $1 Million Personal Success Plan, Paul J. Meyer, the founder of Success Motivation Institute, called this level of commitment a dogged determination to follow through on your plan, regardless of obstacles, criticism, circumstances, or what other people say, think, or do. Commitment comes from vision. Our job as leaders is to be crystal clear on our own vision and help those around us grow and clarify their vision. What does it feel like when you've achieved your huge goal? Not what will it feel like, but what does it feel like? You need to feel it now if you're going to achieve it later. In other words, you want to create the vision of already having achieved the goal. We all need to expand our vision of what's possible for us. A larger vision leads to a stronger commitment. So the first component of courage is commitment. The third component of courage is massive, effective action. Action is what puts working clothes on the dream. Action is the doing part of achieving your huge goal. Massive goals cannot be achieved without massive action. Planning and organizing are important, but the person with the huge goal at some point just has to clear the calendar and go to work. One of my favorite quotes about that is from General George Patton, whose Third Army in World War II killed or captured more Germans and took more territory than all the other five Allied armies on the Western Front combined. His army outperformed the other four armies combined. And Patton was famous for saying, a good plan violently executed today is better than a perfect plan next week. This doesn't take much elaboration. If you're going to achieve huge goals, you have to put in the work and you have to be urgent to get it done now. So the third commitment of courage is massive, effective action. At this point, John got a gleam in his eye. He said, I'll bet I know what you're thinking. And he was right. We were thinking, so what's the second component of courage, right? So let's see if you were smarter, if you're smarter than we were. Go to the chat or just on a piece of paper, write down the word you think might be the second essential component of courage. What's the second essential component of courage? What separates a complete total commitment from massive effective action? What's in between those two? What lies between them? We guessed for about 15 minutes as John wrote our words on a whiteboard. We had some great words again, some powerful leadership kinds of words, And we got close, but we didn't quite get it. The second element of courage, guys, is doubt. Doubt is what separates a commitment from massive effective action. Everyone who has huge goals and achieves them has to overcome doubt, right? My immediate reaction when I heard that was, wow, you just earned the 15 grand that we paid you. That made so much sense because that's something we all struggle with. Of course, I'd struggled with it too and still do, and as you probably do as well. So doubt breaks down into three categories: industry-related doubt, opportunity doubt, and self-doubt. Industry doubt. John was talking to network marketing leaders. Some people have weird feelings about the network marketing industry, but we're in the health and wellness industry, one of the largest and most profitable industries on the planet. There are over 100 million people engaged in network marketing as an industry around the world. So this is not an issue for anybody who does the research. This is a very solid, very well-established industry. And within the network marketing industry, we're in the wellness and the health and wellness space, which is massive. And opportunity doubt relates to anything to do with your particular opportunity. That would include the company, the leadership, the products, the pricing, the commission schedule, any of that kind of stuff. Again, we have no problem with this. It's just a matter of research. We're part of Active Pure Technology, LLC, which is a 90-year-old global company doing business in over 60 countries. Our key technology was developed by NASA, cleared Class 2 by the FDA, and proven effective by one of our nation's most advanced biohazard labs. Our commission structure pays out a larger percentage back to the distributors than any other company in our industry. And so, again, it's a matter of research. This is as solid an opportunity as I've ever seen in my life. The great news also is that we're following great guys like Mike Jackson and Rick Walrab who have done this before in other companies in a very big way. And it's a powerful doubt killer when you hear people with decades of experience, successful experience in this industry, talk about how excited they are about what we have here. As many of you know, what drew me personally to this industry was Active Pure Technology. Literally every indoor space should have this. And as soon as people take the time to understand it, they want it. So our challenge is to get people to take the time to understand it, right? And people buy what they want, don't they? Not what they need. So I'm living proof. I only watched a 2-minute video out of courtesy to my friend Paul Thorne, but as soon as I saw that, actually my first reaction was it's too good to be true. You probably had that reaction at first too, but once you read that press release about the test down at the biohazard lab, you realize it's all true. And then when you find out the Cleveland Clinic is in every one of the operating rooms in their entire system is using our technology, that adds a lot of credibility. So I was in after about a day. The industry-related doubt, the company-related doubt are easy to address. But guys, the third area of doubt you and I will never overcome, never. And that is the self-doubt. So self-doubt, you have to deal with it every day, every day, every day. Each of us have to think about, can I do this? We have to deal with the doubt about, can I do this every single day? So yes, this is a great industry, isn't it? It's a phenomenal opportunity within that industry, maybe the best ever. And this might be the strongest opportunity in the country today. It's right up there. But all of us wonder sometimes if we can do it too. We all have moments of doubt, every one of us. So if you're feeling that way, you are not weird, you are normal. John said, guys, you'll never, ever overcome that, so you'll need to learn to deal with it. You need to learn to deal with it. Kobe Bryant was once asked if he ever had doubt. This was after he'd won 3 world championships with the LA Lakers. He said, well, of course, everyone has doubt. Champions just learn how to deal with their doubt better than others. Champions just learn how to deal with their doubt better than others. From a true champion and legend. So dealing with personal doubt and any other doubts that may arise is one of the 3 important distinctions, along with absolute commitment and massive effective action, that are essential to the process of creating extraordinary results. You have to learn to deal with that doubt. That's not anything new. Shakespeare said about 400 years ago that our doubts are traitors and make us lose the good we oft might win by fearing to attempt. In other words, how many times have you not called somebody because you didn't know exactly what to say and you felt a little awkward? That's doubt, right? And so that doubt is causing you to not do things that may be critical to your success. So doubt is your enemy, guys. It will cause you to lose the good you oft might win by fearing to attempt. Doubt shuts you down. If you recruit 19 reps in a row and none of them do anything, you suppose that might begin to make you doubt that this business works? That happened to me in the insurance industry in 2013. It's a good thing I kept on recruiting, because the 20th person I recruited was the first one to do anything. And he and just 3 of the other 67 personal recruits I had in that company were leaders who built a team of 1,209 agents. Those 4 people built a team that ended up with 1,209 agents in just 18 months. If I'd quit after 19 didn't do anything, I wouldn't have gotten to the 20th. So that's why this talk years ago was so important for me, because I probably would have quit had I not, had this information. The other 63, by the way, did almost nothing. So our business yields to consistency and persistence. The 80-20 rule exists in life, and the 80-20 rule also exists in the 20. So 80% of the people probably won't do anything, and 20% of the 20 will do 80% of the business on your team. That's just the way these things work. But if you let doubt stop you from getting to the 20% that will do something, if you've only gotten to the first part of the 80% before you quit, then it's like the old story of the miner who stopped digging 3 feet short of the largest gold discovery in California history. He sold his claim for a few $100s, went back east and did something else. And the guy who bought it from him went 3 more feet and found the largest gold vein in the history of the California gold rush. The hard truth here is that this battle with self-doubt is something that's ongoing. It's something you have to deal with pretty much every day. So the one distinction that John Kalench came up with, this legendary guy who had worked with everybody in the industry, the one distinction he found that separated everybody who achieved huge things from those who wanted to achieve huge things but didn't, who wished they could achieve huge things but didn't, that was courage. Courage comes down to commitment and all the things related to commitment. It comes down to massive, effective action, to which I would add consistent, massive, effective action. And then there's this issue of doubt management. How do you deal with your doubt? The industry doubt and the opportunity doubt are just matters of research. You can get over that permanently. Personal doubt is a daily battle, so you need to feed your faith daily to make your doubt diminish. It won't go away, but it will diminish if you feed your faith daily. So how do you do that? We have to become an emotional giant so we can kick doubt aside and push on anyway and project confidence and certainty. This means that you need to work on yourself as much as you work on your business. Plugging into the energy of the team and the company on Zoom meetings, attending live events, personal development books and audios, all these build your belief in the business and your belief in yourself. And it's that self-belief that is really going to result in confidence and certainty in your voice, and that's what attracts partners and customers. Fear, uncertainty, and doubt repel them. So we all know that 2 different people can say exactly the same words to the same person, and they can be perceived entirely differently based on the nonverbal communication, right? Well, that nonverbal communication is tough on our primary instrument of the choice, which is the phone, right? Because the visual is gone. Over 50% of communication is nonverbal. It's the hand gestures, the facial gestures. That disappears on the phone. We can't see the body language. And so it has to be pace, pitch, and tonality on the phone. It's what we call the music of the conversation that makes all the difference. And that difference comes from your belief level, which is largely a function of how you overcome the doubt and how you feed your faith. Every single person listening to this training is in a position to create something truly extraordinary because of the timing and the growth of this company. But it's not going to happen, guys, unless you learn to clarify your vision so your commitment level is absolute, and unless you learn to manage your doubt and take massive effective action on a consistent basis. That's just what's required. This stuff is foundational. If you don't have the right foundation, then your music won't be right, because it's not the words you say, as I said earlier, that's nearly as important as the music you play. That's the pace, pitch, and tonality of your voice that conveys confidence and certainty. That's what makes all the difference, and that comes from that belief level, which only can exist if you manage your self-doubt. So courage is a distinction that separates those who have huge goals and achieve them from those who have huge goals and don't achieve them. Courage in this context is composed of 3 crucial elements: absolute commitment, massive effective action consistently, right? And doubt management. If you get all 3 of these pieces right, and if you project confidence and certainty, then you are in for a tremendous ride. So buckle your seatbelt. I don't know if Price Pritchard ever met John Kalench, but I'm pretty sure he'd say that John's 3 elements of courage are foundational to the radical principles of exponential improvement described in that book, U Squared. In that book, Pritchard writes, your real limits are far beyond your artificial mental boundaries. The real limits won't box you in. The false ones that you're carrying around in your mind are a self-imposed prison. Your skepticism, which you presume is based on rational thinking and objective assessment of factual data about yourself, is rooted in mental junk. Your doubts are not a product of accurate thinking, but rather habitual thinking. So for now, just suspend disbelief, act as if you have complete faith, do things on a daily basis to feed your faith, and do what you would do if you knew you were going to succeed, for sure. Doubt is what does the most damage, so don't give it any mental space. If you must doubt something, doubt your limits. Guys, this is powerful stuff. Watch it again, take it to heart, feed your faith daily, and buckle your seatbelt for one great ride. Have a great day, guys.